And here we have head of HBO Sports, Peter Nelson. Peter, really quick, obviously you hear the the talk out there where, oh, this fight is not HBO pay-per-view worthy, and because of I guess Kirkland coming off a loss. But we all know as fight, we all know as fight fans that, I mean, Cotto's always an exciting fighter, and so is James, regardless of what happens in the ring. So that sells. But do you get worried at all a little bit about the numbers? That's the talk now. Numbers are, pay-per-view sales are not doing well.
You know what? This is one of the highest quality fights that could get made in terms of action. James Kirkland training with Ann Wolfe. He's undefeated with Ann. And then you have Miguel Cotto, first ballot Hall of Famer, renewed man under Freddie Roach. And so between the two of them, they're going to leave it all in the ring. And that's what fans want to see. And in terms of what the undercard's shaping up to be, we're excited to see this event come together. It's going to be a terrific event on February 25th.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear what the undercard is. But I think what Yormak was saying is absolutely right. You don't judge it by numbers, projection of numbers. You judge it by quality of fight.
This is good. We should get like a round table. We can do like a whole Charlie Rose.
As far as Miguel Cotto, obviously, this is the end of his career this year, right? But in order for him to get a big fight, maybe revenge one of his losses down a year with HBO, I mean, he would have to look super impressive. So are you looking for Miguel to probably stop James Kirkland? Is that like the narrative in that camp?
I think both fighters understand that legacy is on the line for this. And so for James, he's got to come out and demonstrate that he's back. And for Miguel, he's got to do the same thing. And fighters can talk about winding down their careers. I always believe it when I see it. It's a harder thing to do than people realize, especially when you have as much left as Miguel has.
Right.
I respect 100% the way he talks about his family.
Right.
As someone, he was best friends with his father. I'm best friends with my father. I respect that.
Do you agree with some fight? I know you're friends with Bernard Hopkins. He just took a big loss, and somebody close to him actually told me that fighters don't retire from the sport. The sport retires fighters. Do you agree with that statement?
It depends case by case. Sometimes that happens, but you always hope that it won't. You always hope that the fighters themselves will recognize when it's time to stop, and that they'll have someone in their corner who cares about them enough to give them a heads up in a way that they'll be able to hear.
You think Miguel stops in time?
I do, because Miguel has such maturity about him, and also Freddie's not going to stay with anyone beyond the point where they should.
Right.
He cares about his fighters because he was a fighter.
Yeah, I think either way, I think if Miguel even just skims his way through, he could pack out any place. He could, especially in New York, he could pack out Madison Square Garden. So he's always a good look for your network, I believe.
I personally think he should end his career maybe in
With
Puerto Rico or New York City. I mean, it would only be full circle.
It only makes sense for him to end it in Madison
Before
Square
you go,
Garden.
I know you got to run and watch Miguel train. Tell the people why they should pay $50 to watch this fight.
Listen, I'm not here to tell people what they should do with their money. All I can tell
you
you is that it's a great fight.
Right.
And if you're a fight fan, that you can rely on the action of this. This isn't going to be one of those fights where you end up laying out your money and then you wonder why you did it.
Right.
This is one of those fights where you're guaranteed to have entertainment. And anyone who wants that, they should buy in on
$50 is the new $20 anyway, because they used to spending $75.
There you have it, folks. Peter Nelson, HBO, man. February 25th. Miguel Cotto versus James Kirkland. This is 50.com.
Can I take a flick with you guys? Thank you.